Hello everybody, we are going live today. I know it's not Tuesday, it is Monday, but we are doing it on Monday instead of Tuesday this week. The live with Michali, where we answer a question that's been posted on our forums at OKclarity. So we're just going to wait for some of you to show up, and for Michali, of course. Hello Michali. Let me add you. Thank you for joining, people. Just move this. Hi Michali.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Like miles away, so that like my head is not half cut off. I'm doing well. Not very rested, but otherwise okay. Thank God. How are you?
Same here. Same here. We just got back really late last night. Yeah, it's been a fun weekend.
Yeah, everyone's a bit hungover, no matter if they drink or didn't drink.
Oh yeah, hungover from exhaustion, drinking,
Exactly.
socializing. If you're an introvert, then there's socializing hangovers, you know.
Totally.
Yeah.
I can identify with that one.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I said it. Alrighty. So this is from I Am Okay.
Yes.
It's a great question. So here we go. My whole life, I was told it is not okay to feel my emotions. With a lot of hard work, good for you, I'm finally in a place where I can allow myself to feel them, but it is so painful that it is no wonder I want to push them away and close off my emotions. I struggle to sit with my emotions because I'm afraid of getting stuck and that the emotion will, quote unquote, take over. Going from not allowing myself to feel to feeling is really intense and feels frightening. Any advice on how to allow myself to feel without getting lost in the feeling and also making it less painful to feel?
Really,
So many thoughts on this.
yeah, so go for it, because my brain is a bit fried, to be honest.
A little fried. Okay, so you can enjoy the socializing hangover. So I'm a huge believer in feeling feelings and paying attention to feelings, not like for the sake of just feeling the agony of an uncomfortable feeling. There's a purpose to feelings. And so I think it's really important that we understand the purpose of every single one of our feelings, right? One thing that I say a lot about anger to clients who struggle with anger management is that anger is all about what we value, right? When we get angry, usually there's like a boundary violation. There's something that we feel is unjust that's happening. And usually those things point to what we value most, right? So when we're feeling angry, allow ourselves to feel it. We don't need to act on it. We don't need to act it out, I should say, but we should act on it. So once we understand, okay, I'm feeling angry. So what is it that's a boundary violation? We need to ask ourselves a number of questions, right? So what's the boundary violation here? What matters to me? Once we get clarity on that, then we can go to, okay, so how can I maintain my boundaries in a healthy way? What's like a step that I can take to get what I need that's done in a healthy way? Now, the beauty of anger is that when we feel angry, there's like this rush of energy, right? That's why kids, when they're angry, they hit their siblings, right? There's this literal rush of energy.
Yeah.
And so we can channel that energy when in situations when we're not angry, we normally feel nervous to maintain boundaries. Maybe we don't have, a strong enough sense of self or whatever it is. But when we're angry, we can channel that rush of energy to maintain proper and healthy boundaries, right? So that's the emotion of anger. I'm assuming this person's talking about negative, uncomfortable emotions. So it's usually fear, sadness, and anger. So with fear, it's going to be a similar thing. We're going to ask ourselves, like, what is this fear telling me about myself, right? And what is it that I need? There's a great book by an author named Susan Jeffers it's called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. She's an excellent human being and author, and I highly recommend whoever's watching to check it out. Oftentimes fear, right? We have to ask ourselves, is this fear warranted, right? Is this fear telling me that I'm in danger, or is it telling me that there's an exciting opportunity for me to grow, right? If we can maintain that we're not in danger, then it can be so powerful and empowering to conquer that fear and to feel the fear and do it anyway. Then the last one is sadness, right? Where again, we're not pushing away these feelings. We're not judging ourselves for having these feelings. We're simply acknowledging the feeling and trying to learn the lesson that the feeling is teaching us.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to ask ourselves, like, okay, did I process grief or disappointment? Did I acknowledge that? Usually sadness kind of bubbles up when, and we're uncomfortable with it when we haven't really allowed ourselves to like just kind of sit in the sadness. So
Mm-hmm.
that can mean giving ourselves a good cry, understanding the depths of our sorrow, um, you know, um, giving ourselves nurturing. Sometimes sadness is like a cry for, compassion for ourselves and, understanding ourselves and acknowledging and validating the deeper parts of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, and sometimes it's grieving, right? So paying attention to that, asking ourselves where that comes from, and then follow that with, let's say, an action
Mm-hmm.
so that we're actually taking care of whatever needs to be taken care of. And one last thing, and I'm going to stop, is
I'm enjoying this.
um,
Yeah.
okay, great. Is like when we feel a physical sensation, right? Whether positive or negative, it's our body's way of communicating, right?
Yeah.
So if we're putting on lotion on our hands and that makes our hands feel good, right? Then it's our hands' way of telling us, "Ooh, thank you for taking care of me. I needed that moisture. Thank you."
Mm-hmm.
Um, right? And if we feel a boo-boo, right? If something hurts us,
Yeah.
right? Then it's our body's way of communicating, pay attention to this area. It needs your care,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we get a burn, then we need to, treat it. If we get a cut, we need to treat it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So physical sensations, whether positive or negative, tell us something. And emotions are the exact same thing. They're
I
physical
love that.
sensations
Mm-hmm.
that are telling us something. So our job is to pay attention to them
That's
and
it.
take care of them. Yeah.
Identify the most.
The end.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So, like, I love everything you said, obviously, and it's all on point. I think
Thank
like one
you.
of her questions was also like, how do I not get stuck in there? And I think that's like a tricky thing because there's no like, people want to know like, how do I know if I'm like done feeling my emotion? How do I know how much time to feel the emotion? So I'm thinking that like there's this concept, and I might butcher it because I'm on a little bit of sleep, but like your thoughts are really what perpetuate the feelings. Like meaning a feeling doesn't last forever. It's our thoughts that perpetuate the feelings. So if you're finding yourself constantly like stuck in this type of feeling, that means that your thoughts are kind of like running wild. And that's where like I think containing might come in. So it's like it's okay to feel the feelings, of course, and you want to let yourself feel them. But if it's like this, you're afraid of getting stuck in them, recognize maybe, and you tell me if this adds up, that it's not the feeling, it's that you're getting stuck in, it's the thoughts that are perpetuating you getting stuck in this like feeling state. But it's like almost like a pseudo feeling. It's like you're recreating the feeling from the constant thinking. So it's more of a thought problem and a feeling problem.
Yeah, it's like a CBT. What you're saying is like a CBT approach, and I completely
Right.
agree with you. And That's
Mm-hmm.
that's the whole process of like saying, okay, what am I feeling?
Mm-hmm.
What is it trying to tell me? That's the head, and then
Right.
following it up with action. The action kind of releases it.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely agree with you, and I love that idea of like containing also because I
Right.
think sometimes we can have trouble with that. It's an art and a
Exactly.
skill.
Exactly. It's like how much do I and like to know like I guess this question it's a brilliant question and like to know that there isn't a one like right answer and like it's normal to have that fear of like getting stuck in the emotion, especially if you're so new to feeling emotions, right? And they're so heavy and they're so dark, then they can feel like they're trapping. But to know that there is a way out, and I think that there are so many skills that you can use. But first, you know, give yourself credit for like being willing to feel them.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to feel them. If you find yourself getting stuck, then you might want to speak to your therapist. I'm assuming that you have one, on how to contain, right? So there are so many ways of doing that. There's, the typical containing, which is like, I'm going to think about this at like 10 a.m. tomorrow morning or 10 p.m. tonight for an hour, or I'm going to save this for a therapy session, or I'm going to save this to speak with my best friend, whatever it is that's containing for you. And then have some sort of like skill every time the thoughts come up, which are triggering those feelings, to be like, okay, not now, sorry, see you later.
Yeah.
Like you could stay on my head, but I'm focusing right now on like this live, or I'm focusing on drinking my tea and reading a book. And just
To be a
constantly,
distraction.
exactly. So like, so I'm thinking that might be just more of like a practical help if that's what, again, these questions are hard to gauge, like where the questioner is coming in. But I think we're kind of trying to attack it from all angles in terms of, being supportive. A, it's normal. there isn't a one right answer. I think people think that there is. Like, I want to be able to feel my feelings, but I also want to totally not feel my feelings because, like, I want to be like over, you know.
Right, right.
So
I
it's like,
think I,
yeah.
I think also like it, this is kind of like reminding me, and I love what you're saying in terms of like distractions and stuff. I think one of the things that I do when as like a sex therapist is like when in the treatments, I talk sometimes about like transitions into the treatment and transitions out of the treatment. And I think that when we have a hard time feeling our feelings, it can be helpful to like have transitions going into feeling the feeling, like gently bringing us to allowing ourselves to feel the feeling, giving ourselves, as you said, like a certain set amount of time, and then also giving ourselves a transition out of the feeling, like because sometimes certain feelings can make us feel really raw and very vulnerable. So like having that transition activity can be helpful with that. And one thing that's really, really helpful to process feelings is journaling. Like shout out to my upcoming journaling group because I think journaling is like so helpful for really whatever feeling you have. And I know you are a huge advocate
Yeah,
of
huge
journaling.
then. I mean, I haven't journaled
Yeah,
and then like too long just because I'm letting life get in the way, which is so not.
craziness.
But like, I love journaling. I think it's like, I mean, I think it has such a like cringy sound to it. Like, oh, you journal, but it's like literally like it's like talking, but like to the smartest person because it's like the piece of paper that like is your like what you need to see or hear and get out of you, and then like you just cleared up your headspace for like better quality thoughts and ideas. You know what I mean? So I'm a
Exactly.
fan. I'm a huge fan. Yes. And you have a journaling group. We have to take this off off the line. There might be
Yeah, we're starting a journaling group. One of our clinicians at Embrace is starting journaling group pretty soon. It's like a 10-week program,
and it's for class
and
type of thing.
it's for anybody. It's open to
Wow,
the public,
so cool.
and it's going to be a closed group, and you can process whatever it is you want to process. There's going to be a guided journaling, guided meditation,
Oh my God,
so you
brilliant.
can like
Well,
come with a goal.
we need to share that.
Yeah,
OKclarity. We need to like
I'll send you the flyer.
amazing.
But it's amazing. It's really amazing,
Brilliant.
and she's
Brilliant.
wonderful. Yeah, because it's like sometimes you just need that like structure to,
Totally.
speaking of like having a beginning and end, like you need that structure to be able to process.
Mhm.
And then it helps to have like a small group of support,
Totally.
who's like-minded when it comes to like emotional and mental health kind of growth.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
so yeah.
Easy thing to push off. I mean, like speaking speaking to the person that's
Yeah, it like forces you to have
totally,
accountability.
totally.
Yeah, so that's exactly what it's
Important thing.
ideal.
Like, yeah, exactly. Amazing.
Exactly.
Whoever's listening, and I definitely want to like share this with the OK Clarity community because it's
Oh, thank you.
so valuable. Amazing. Okay, I hope that was helpful to the listeners and to the questioner, obviously. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Michali, for sharing your wisdom as usual. And I'll see you next week, God willing.
I'm looking forward. Thank you so much, Faye.
Take care. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.